I have done several videos on my channel reviewing various needle brands. I'll tell you which ones in a minute. I've also done a video on how to choose the best needles for you, so what to look out for when choosing knitting needles. And also I've done a video on swivel cords. I've really struggled to remember that name this morning. I recorded this intro 3 times because I cannot remember swivel cords. I've also done a video on swivel cords, whether I like them or not. I also have a video on my channel on how to knit with circular needles if your stitches fill the whole circular needle, and if you have too few stitches for your circular needle, how to knit with magic loop and how to do a traveling loop. So all that is in my circular needle and needle review playlist. I think that's what it's called. I will link it at the end of this video. I'll also link it in the comment box below, so you can find all my needle reviews there. But today I thought I would go through the different needles I reviewed and tell you a bit about them and which ones are my favorite and which ones I will definitely not be buying any more of. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website yarnaddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. So I've got a new mic, as you can see. Now, I have recorded quite a few videos ahead because I'm away for a period in May. This video may be out in May, may not be out till June. But I recorded a bunch of videos before I got this mic, and the first video I recorded with this mic was yesterday when I recorded the podcast that went out on the 2nd of May. So apologies if there are any sound problems. Let me know what you think, if you think the sound is better. I'm hoping you'll filter out the background noise, but I'm also aware that if I get anything close to the mic, it'll make a noise. So I'm still learning what I'm doing with this mic, so let me know any feedback in the comments. Also, let me know if you tried any of these needle brands, if you like them, which ones are your favorites or which ones are your least favorite. So I thought I would start with my least favorite. And I don't have those to show you because I've given them away to somebody. That's how much I didn't like them. So my least favorite needles out of the ones I've reviewed are the Allis interchangeable needles. I had some Allis fixed circular ones many years ago. I think they were lace tips. I don't know if they still do them, but it was many years ago. And I found them really pointed. The pointiest needles I think I've ever knitted with. But they also used to give me like puncture wounds in my, I think it was that finger, because I sometimes tap the end of the needle with that finger to move the stitches off the needle or to move the stitches ahead a bit. And I used to get like puncture wounds. So I stopped knitting with those. Also, don't think I like the cables. But we're probably talking like 15 years ago, so that's a long time ago. I bought the Allis interchangeable ones last year, end of last year, just so I could do a review on this channel. I was able to get them wholesale, and I didn't like them. The way they fit into the interchangeable cable, you just push them in and then twist them. You don't have to use like a little tool to twist them like you do with most of the other interchangeable needle brands, and I just didn't like them. I really struggled to get the twist mechanism to work. Several times I would like push them in, twist them, and they just would fall out. And sometimes I thought I had fixed them in, and then they fell out afterwards while I was knitting. So I just didn't get on with them, and I ended up giving them to somebody I know who really likes Allis needles, because I thought there's no point in me hanging on to them because I'm never going to use them again. So Allis are my least favorite needles. Next ones are the Prim Ergonomic needles. I bought these probably like 3 years ago, I think, and I saw them online somewhere and I thought these are intriguing, so I searched for them and managed to find a pair. And if you want to watch the review on this, go and watch it, but I haven't bought any more. If I saw them in the yarn shop, maybe I would. I think these would be really good for traveling. If you're worried about taking needles on the plane with you, I think these would be really good because they're plastic and the points, I don't know if you can see it, but they're not very pointed. They've got this kind of, I don't know, almost like a spoon shape. They're a weird shape. I don't know how well it comes off on camera, but they feel pointed to knit with. They don't feel blunt when you knit with them. So I bought a 4mm fixed circular needle. I like the fact that it's got purple cord on it. I do like that. And they were quite nice to knit with. I haven't used them a lot. They're actually in my workshop bag, but the needles, the cable's done king, so they're very nice needles. And I do think, even though these aren't interchangeable ones, I do think these would be useful for traveling if you're worried about having your knitting needles taken off you, because they're not that pointy, although they feel pointy when you knit with them. I guess it's this tip that makes them ergonomic. They're also really soft material, slightly flexible. I don't want to flex it too much in case I break them. And they're warm to the touch. And I think if you're looking for something a little bit different, I think these would be quite a good idea. I don't know how popular they are, how easy they are to get hold of here in the UK. Let me know if you've seen these in any yarn shops. Let me know if you're in the UK or somewhere else. I'm assuming Prim is German brand. I don't know. But let me know if you're not in the UK, if you're in other European countries. Are these easy to get hold of in your country? If you're in the US, can you get these in your local yarn shop? Let me know. I found these online because I searched for them. And I can't remember the yarn shop now. I actually met the lady who runs it because we were at the same show a few months after I bought these, and we were stalls like next to each other, I think, which was a coincidence, but I've forgotten what they're called. But I do like these, but because they're a bit unusual, I probably won't be buying any more of them. If I happen to be in the yarn shop where they sell them, maybe I'll pick up a couple more sizes. I do think they're good for traveling by plane if you are worried about having your needles confiscated. I have never had a problem. I've done other videos on traveling with needles. Just search for travel knitting on my on my YouTube channel. I'll try and link some of them below if I remember. But the only airports I've heard of people having problems is in Greece and Turkey. I have traveled with knitting needles through Spanish airports, 2, 3, I think 3 airports in Spain, Norwegian airports, 1, 2 airports in Norway maybe, several British airports, Jersey, Budapest in Hungary, Venice in Italy. I think that's it. If you are worried, I would have thought these would be less likely to cause a problem. So they are second to the bottom. The problem with some of these needle brands is that I have my favorite and then all the rest of them are kind of level. So if I'm saying second to bottom, I don't necessarily mean that. I do like quite a few of these kind of equally. So next one on my list is the C knit needles, which are the ones I reviewed a couple of months ago, maybe earlier this year. Somebody asked me if I tried them. They'd been told that these were the best bamboo needles you can get. And I agree, these are very nice needles. So I bought a fixed circular needle. I actually ordered them on Amazon, which I don't really like ordering knitting stuff on Amazon, but I was going on holiday, so I wanted to order them before I went away. And so I ordered them on Amazon because I knew then they would arrive quickly. But they are available from yarn shops as well. Although I struggle to find this particular type in yarn shops. I don't know whether they've changed. This is it's got a swivel cable, so the tip moves independently from the cable, which is quite nice, and this got a smooth join. And some needles, where the swivel cable joins the needle tip, there's a bit of a gap here, which I guess allows the needle to swivel, and you haven't got that on this one. So I do really like this one. It's fairly pointy. It's not as pointy, I don't think, as my Chow Goose metal needles. It's fairly pointy. It's nice and smooth. It's wood. I think it's bamboo, but it's still fairly slick. It's got like a smooth coating. So I really like these. Will I buy more of them? Probably not, because if I'm going to use wooden needles, I have other ones that I prefer. But I think if you like bamboo needles and you happen to find these, I think they're very nice needles. They're called C knit and Japanese, I think. Yes, Japanese, and they're quite nice needles. And I definitely, if I was on holiday and I needed to buy some needles and this is all they had, I would be more than happy to buy another pair. They are very nice needles. But because I have other wooden needles that I prefer and I have more of, I probably would stick with those. But those are very nice needles, especially if you want a lighter coloured wood, because the other wooden needles I have are dark coloured wood, which isn't great if you're knitting with darker yarns. If you want light coloured wood, bamboo ones are great, and I think out of all the bamboo ones I've tried, these are probably the best. Okay, let's chat about Lykke needles. So I have Lykke interchangeable needles, and I think I've got Lykke fixed circulars as well, or they're all interchangeable, I'm not sure. But Lykke, I only have the wooden ones. I've been told they come in some new ones, but I'm not sure. But I have the wooden ones. They come in different colors. So I've got the natural, I think these are called driftwood. They have pink ones and they have blue ones. In terms of functionality, they're all the same. These are actually fixed onto Lantern Moon swivel cords. So the Lantern Moon, Lykke and Nipro cables and needle tips all fit interchangeably. So I can use Lykke needle tips with Nipro or Lantern Moon cables and vice versa. I can use the Nipro and Lantern Moon needle tips with the Lykke cables. Cables and needle tips between those three brands all fit each other. Nipro and Lantern Moon are actually made by the same company, but I don't think Lykke are. So Lykke is a Norwegian word that means joy or happiness, and it's pronounced Lykke. A lot of people pronounce it likey or like. I'm Norwegian, it's pronounced Lykke, but it's spelled Lykke, and a lot of people pronounce it like or likey, but Lykke is the way you pronounce it. They're very nice needles to knit with. They're comfortable to hold. I like the different color options. They are not that pointy. They are a bit blunt, so I don't tend to use them for things where I want pointy needles. The things I specifically want pointy needles for are things like brioche knitting, especially if I'm working a lot of decreases, lace knitting, again for the decreases, and cable knitting, because when I do cables, I mainly do cables without a cable needle, and having a pointy needle is really useful. So I don't use these a lot, but I do use them for some projects. I really like the Lykke needles, but I think they probably are a bit of a fashion thing in the knitting world, or at least they were when they first came out. They're very popular. I don't think they're the best needles on the market though, but they are very nice to knit with and they look nice. Next up, let's talk about Higher. So I think maybe Higher come below Lykke, but I've already done Lykke, so let's talk about Higher. I don't have a lot of Higher needles, and I've only got, I think, the fixed circular ones. They are very pointy. They're probably pointier than my Chow Goose. I probably should try and get some of the interchangeable ones and see what they're like. They're very, very light, and they are very, very pointy. You can see that, but it's the cable that drives me mad. Their cables is very twisty. I don't know whether their cables have improved since I bought this. I haven't bought any Higher needles for a long time. They are very smooth and easy to knit with, and they're very light, incredibly light, but I just don't like this cable. So I don't know what their interchangeable ones are like, because I don't think I've ever bought them. I don't know if their interchangeable fits onto other brands' cables, like Lantern Moon, Lykke and Nipro. Most of the yarn shops where I teach don't sell these. I don't feel like I see them that often as shows. That's probably why I haven't bought any more. I might look out when I do Yarndale in the autumn, in September, if I can find some interchangeable ones and try those and see if their cables have improved. Because the thing that's stopping me using these are the cables and the fact that I have loads of other needles that I prefer. But I think the Higher are very nice ones, and they are very popular. It's just I probably haven't found the right type for me. I just find these cables, these blue ones, a little bit too kinky. So yeah, they're nice ones, but I just find I don't really reach for them that often. So let's talk about Nipro. Nipro are sold in most yarn shops, so they're very easy to get hold of. I would say that if you're looking for basic, all-round, good quality, good value knitting needles, Nipro are the best ones to go for. They do a variety of different ones. The first ones they brought out, I think, were these symphony ones, which are these wooden ones. These are really good, but they are a darker wood. So if you're knitting with darker yarns, maybe they're too dark. The points on these are very similar to the Lantern Moon points, by the way. I think they're probably made in the same factory because they're owned by the same company. The original Nipro cables are a bit kinky, but they do swivel cables as well now. They also do carbons, which are very nice. But as I said in my recent Chow Gu Forte carbon needle review, they're not as smooth. These joints are not as smooth as on the Chagoo carbon needles. They do metal ones, they do like solid metal ones, and they do these that have these measurements. And these have got, I think it's 2 centimeters. Is it 1 centimeter? Hang on. No, 2 centimeters. So each one of these sections is 2 centimeters, and it's also marked on the cable, I think. Again, very nice. I mainly use these for sock knitting. I've got a few of these for sock knitting. I haven't bought any more of them. And then I've got these square ones because I wanted to try them. So these are wooden ones, but they're square. And I don't know, these feel very gimmicky to me. So I bought one of these wholesale, and the joint here where the cable joint and needles, these are fixed ones, not interchangeable ones, was awful. So I sent them back and they sent me new ones. And these are slightly better, but can you see how I can pull, I don't know how visible that is, I can pull the needle out of the cable. And that means the yarn's going to get stuck this. I don't know whether I'll just end up getting 2 faulty ones. I couldn't be bothered to complain again and send them back. But the square ones from Nipro, the wooden square ones, I don't like. I don't really get the square knitting needles. They're supposed to be better if you have problems with your hands, like arthritis and things. To me, they just feel very gimmicky, and I don't think I'll buy any more of them. But I think Nipro are really good all-round knitting needle. They do everything. They do interchangeable ones, fixed circular, swivel cords, they're regular cords. They have ones called Mindful Collection, which I haven't brought out. I thought I had, but I haven't, which are very good. They've got little mindful slogans on them, which annoys me a bit. Some of the new Nipro cables are swivel ones, and they also have like the memory ones or non-memory ones. Anyway, the ones that are like the Chagoo that don't kink. And they have loads of different materials, metal, wood. They used to do acrylic ones. I don't know if they still do. Carbon. So there's loads of options with Nipro. And because they all interchange with their cables and things, it's quite a good brand to go for. They also do straight needles and double pointed needles. And most yarn shops stock them, so they are easy to get hold of and good all-round needles. I normally would say don't go for anything cheaper than Nipro because they can be a bit cheap and nasty. But Nipro ones, I think, are good all-round needles. If you'd like nice needles to knit with, but you don't want to spend a fortune, I would say Nipro are a very good alternative. So my 2 favourite needle brands are Lantern Moon. So I actually ordered some new ones because the ones I had, I left in Norway last time I went. I decided to leave some of my most popular needle sizes in Norway because I go so often. So these are the Lantern Moon ones. They're very pointed. They're actually similar in pointedness to the Nipro Symphony. They are a dark ebony wood. They have the needle size printed on the thing, on the needle, and then it also has it. It's not easy to see into the gold part, the connected part. I think that's the needle size anyway, but it's very difficult to see. It's got American sizes and millimeter sizes. The problem is when they're on the wooden bit, they tend to rub off quite easily, but these actually have it on this metal bit as well, but that is a lot more difficult to see. But just make sure you have a needle sizer in your knitting kit and you can find the right needles quite easily. So I really like these. They're smooth and easy to knit with. They're comfortable. They're fairly pointy, and because they are wooden ones, I've actually used this more recently for travel. I decided to leave 4mm and 3.5mm ones in Norway last time I went because they're the ones I use the most. I'm trying to leave as much as I can in Norway so that when I go, because I go quite a lot, I went 6 times in total last year. Well, the 6th time was actually at just before the end of the year, and I stayed into January, so that kind of counts as last year and this year. And I've been twice already this year, and I'm going again soon. By the time you see this video, I've already been. Then I'm going again in the summer and probably in the autumn and at Christmas. So I'm going to Norway a lot, so I've decided to leave some knitting kit stuff there as well, so I don't have to take it with me. And because I use 4mm and 3.5mm a lot, I've left my Lantern Moon ones there. So I ordered some new ones because I can get these wholesale, and I really, really like knitting with them. When I go on holiday to Portugal in the autumn, I will probably take these with me for the plane. I know I won't have a problem here in the UK. Can't get these back into the box. I know I won't have a problem here in the UK getting them through the airport, but I haven't been to Portugal with my knitting. I've been to Portugal several times before, but it was all before I met my husband. So I haven't been to Portugal since I was 20, 21, 20. So I don't know how strict they are at Lisbon Airport. So if you've been to Portugal with your knitting needles, tell me, are they okay at Lisbon Airport or not? The Lantern Moon also have swivel cords, which I really like, and it's actually the Lantern Moon swivel cords that I'm using with my Licky needles. I use the Lantern Moon swivel cords with my Licky needles, with my Lantern Moon, and with my other Nipro ones. And so they're I use those cables a lot. They're really good swivel cables. Probably my preferred swivel cables are the ones I've tried. So let's chat about my favorite needle brand. If you've been watching me for a while, you will know what they are. They are ChowGoo. So I first discovered ChowGoo many years ago. I can't remember when it was. I was in London for a yarn festival, but they also did loads of workshops, and I'd actually booked a spinning workshop in the morning, so I took my spinning wheel with me. I have a wheel that you can fold up and it fits into a travel bag, but I went on the tube in the rush hour with it, which seems crazy. It was a bit of a squeeze. And then after my workshop, I spent the afternoon looking around the show. It was somewhere in West London. I can't remember what it was called. It was quite a small show, but they did have a shop there selling ChowGoo needles. So I bought a few sets because they seemed incredibly popular. Loads of people were buying them. So I bought a few sets of their fixed circular ones, and I really liked them. And then I bought more and more sets of their fixed circular ones. And then when they eventually brought out their interchangeable set, because I already had this Nipro Symphony interchangeable set, I was like, I don't really need an interchangeable set, but I had all the ChowGoo ones in all the sizes I usually needed in the fixed circular ones. But I really wanted an interchangeable set, so I bought it. And then I've added loads to it since, and I really like the ChowGoo. They are my most popular needles. I was going to say these are fixed ones, but these are actually interchangeable ones. I usually use these, which are twist lace tips. I really like those. The thing I like about ChowGoo is that most of their cables are fairly straight. They don't really kink. I think I got one cable that's a bit kinky. All the others are fine, and that's what I really like about them. The cables are a little bit thick. That's the only thing I don't like about these cables, but they are really nice to knit with. And these are the knitting I use most of the time. They are my go-to needles. They're slick, they're smooth, they have very nice needle tips, and I really, really like these needles. If you don't like metal ones, they do also do bamboo ones. I bought this quite a few years ago, and I must admit, I haven't really used them a lot. I used them at the time, and they're okay, but I didn't love them. Their points are, oh no, they're about the same as the metal ones. I don't know why I didn't use them really, but I've never really used them a lot, but they're as pointy as the metal ones. And then recently I got the Forte carbon fiber needles. These were released probably like 18 months ago or something in an interchangeable set that had all the needle tips and several cables and some other knitting accessory type notions type stuff. And it was very, very expensive. And I was like, I'm not buying that. Very tempted, but I'm not buying that. It came in a beautiful case, but I just thought it was ridiculous price. Even if I would have got a wholesale, I don't think I would have bought it. But I really want to try these needles. I did buy some carbon, so I did buy some of the Forte cables recently, and I have a separate review on these, which will be out before this video. And I really like them. Compared to the Nipro Pro carbons, they look very similar. But the Nipro carbons, you can feel the joints between the metal and the carbon fiber. You can't feel that at all with the ChowGoo. So they are definitely a step up from the Nipro carbon fiber. They're very, very smooth and nice, warm to the touch. So I think if you don't like the metal ones, but you want to use ChowGoos, I think these are a good alternative. I will definitely get more of these because I really, really like them. In terms of the needle size, have they got the needle size on the... Oh yes, they have. They have the needle size on the metal bit here. So it's not where I would normally look for it, but they have it on the needle tip. And I've used this quite a lot, and the size is fine. It's only got the millimeter size. Then it has here, it says 6. So 4mm is US 6, and it has 6 here and 4mm here. That's a little bit confusing, though they're not in the same place, but they are really nice to knit with. I've used them quite a lot. I used them on a cable project recently, and I did cables without a cable needle. Really like them. I will definitely get some more of these if I'm in a yarn shop and they happen to have them, or I see them when I go to Yarndale in the autumn. Do I need any more Chagu needles? No, I do not. I have millions, but I probably will get some more of these in some other sizes because I quite like them. So my number one knitting needles are the Chagu twist lace interchangeable ones, followed by the Forte ones, followed by Lantern Moon, followed by Lykke, I think. Anyway, let me know what you think. Have you tried any of these needles? Do you like them? Which ones are your favorite? Which ones are your least favorite? Do you agree with me? Do you not? What's most important to you when it comes to buying knitting needles? Is it the feel of them, the pointedness, the cables? If you use circular ones or interchangeable ones, if you use straight ones, what's the most important thing for you? Let me know in the comments and let me know your favorites. And if there are any needles I haven't reviewed yet that you think I should review, do tell me in the comments and I will see if I can track them down and do a review of them. So as I said earlier, I have reviews of all these needle brands on my channels. I will link that playlist at the end of this video and below, so do go and take a look at that if you're interested in more information about any of these knitting needles. That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.